You can have the best music in the world, but if you're missing this one thing, venues will pass on you every time. Here's what I figured out after years of making this mistake. Your press pack is your professional introduction. And I'm gonna be honest, most of you are making a shit first impression. The first impression is what most venues, bookers, or promoters are going to get before they've ever heard your music or saw you play live. And in most cases, whether you get booked or not is going to come down to how tight and how professional this is. This isn't just some admin task that you should do later. This is something you should definitely focus on. A solid press pack is literally going to make or break bookings in a major way. If a promoter is trying to pitch to their boss and you create work for them by not having your press pack together, they're just gonna pass on you and they'll move on to the next artist who has their shit together. Because let's be real, why would they create extra work for themselves when there's always another DJ waiting in line? If you don't spend the time to make your assets complement you as an artist and make it an easy yes for the person booking you, then you're going to struggle to lock in consistent shows. Now look, this isn't just about gigs, this is about positioning. Think of your press pack like your resume, but for an industry where first impressions happen in the real world, not in a corporate office. This is basic business 101. Understand your customers' problems and then solve them. Venues are always looking for a point of difference or new experiences in their venues, and with the marketing materials to back it up. They need to justify their investment in you and minimize their workload. Your press pack is meant to solve every single one of these problems. As much as I always teach my academy students that authentic and organic content is the way to connect, grow, and promote on social media, when it comes to the press pack side of things, that's where we switch gears and really lock in on the professional side. This is where we want to make sure that the impressions really hit. So you're probably thinking, what actually goes into this thing? Well, there are a few key components in every press pack or EPK, whichever you call it, and don't stress if you don't have huge accolades yet. What we're going to do is frame what you're doing in a way that's going to build momentum and credibility. Just because you haven't played on massive festival stages doesn't mean you don't have value to bring. First up is the biography. This is the about you section, and it's written in third person. It should cover who you are, what you've done, and where you're going. Now, this is going to be tough to write if you come from Australia or the UK with the amount of tall poppy syndrome we're constantly surrounded by here, but this isn't the place to be humble. I don't want you being all modest in your bio. Here's the paradox most DJs miss. The more you try to show your personality in your press pack, the less personality it actually has. Why? Because venues don't book personalities. They book professionals with solutions to their problems. Keep posting on all your socials and showing up as your authentic self, but here is where it comes down to business. Years ago, I paid a copywriter like $150 to write a short 5-paragraph bio about me. Now, you can do this with ChatGPT, but don't just copy and paste whatever it spits out. If it sounds like generic ChatGPT shit, fix it. Change the words, make it sound less cringy and like it was actually written by a human being. Let me show you what I mean. Let's pull up Topic's bio, which is a masterclass in positioning. Listen to how they frame this. With a global impact driven by his emotionally exhilarating dance sound, German-Croatian DJ and producer Topic has solidified his position as a superstar in the electronic music scene. Now, notice what they're doing here. They're not just saying he's a DJ. They're positioning him as having global impact and being a superstar. Then they immediately back it up with hard numbers. His 2019 hit, Breaking Me, amassed over 6 billion streams worldwide. Now, obviously, most of you don't have 6 billion streams yet, but here's the framework to follow. Big positioning statement, then immediate proof with your best achievements. So instead of 6 billion streams, maybe it's his debut single has amassed over 50,000 streams, or his recent EP caught the attention of local radio. See, the key here is framing what you've done in the strongest possible way. If you've played 3 gigs, don't say, I've only played 3 gigs. Say, emerging artists making waves in the local scene with standout performances at venue names. Same facts, completely different positioning. And that's the difference between amateur and professional framing. Right, so that's your bio sorted. The next thing you need is your logo. You want clean, scalable logos. PNG with transparent backgrounds, maybe even an icon version. This makes it easy for the promoters or the clubs to build the flyers, and it helps with your brand recognition and cohesion on your social media when you post about it. Now, you don't need to spend hundreds on a graphic designer when you're first starting. Just go to Canva or a free font finder website, type in your DJ name, and you're gonna get a bunch of different options. Just find something clean, simple, export it as PNG, and if it feels super generic, just change the colors, fonts, make it your own. The key is having something professional and a point of difference, not something that looks like you made it in Microsoft Paint. So now that we've got the logo sorted, let's talk press shots. High quality photos, preferably studio photos, but honestly, just having access to a studio or affording studio shouldn't be a barrier to entry. Most people have an iPhone, so just use what you have. Because here's the uncomfortable truth that nobody wants to talk about. Image matters more than most DJs want to admit. You can cry about it being shallow, but venues are visual businesses. They're selling an experience and you're part of that experience. Now, if you're someone who's awkward getting their photo taken like I am, literally just go to Pinterest and search male photo shoot poses. What I do from there, I literally put together a Pinterest board on the style and poses I want, and then I'll send it to my photographer and be just like, hey, guide me into these poses, because naturally I'm awkward as shit. Here's the thing though, if you have shit press shots, that could be the difference between you getting the headline and not getting the headline. Your press shot either screams book me or skip me. There's really no middle ground here. All right, so we've covered the bio, the logos, the press shots. Now we're going to get into the technical stuff. The tech writer is going to be where you're telling the venue what equipment you need, whether it's CDJ models, mixer type, do you need a microphone, booth monitors, whatever it is. If you don't send this shit through, you can get really stitched up. A perfect example of this, I remember one of my first touring shows when I was an open format DJ on Serato, and the venue had this DJ M2000 mixer, absolute piece of shit. I didn't know how to play it, and I'd been DJing for like 6 years at that point. The effects knobs are in different places. Everything is just whack in comparison to the club standard mixers at that time. The one time I've been a diva in my life was because of that damn mixer. I made the venue unplug the mixer and plug in a new mixer so I could DJ. And this is in the middle of the night, in the middle of the club. That's why it's important to have a tech writer and go to soundcheck. Now, along with the tech writer, you've also got your hospitality writer. This covers what you want backstage, whether that's drinks, towels, protein bars, whatever you need to perform. And if you haven't specified this beforehand and there's nothing in your writer about drinks, you're gonna end up paying for them yourself. And I don't know about you guys, but I like to have a drink when I'm playing, and I don't want to be spending any of my performance fee on overpriced drinks. For me, I keep my rider simple. 1 bottle of vodka, bottle of Fireball, couple of jugs of mixers, bit of sugar-free Red Bull, couple of bottles of water, and 2 new towels. That covers what I need for a local or an interstate show. Now let's look at the higher caliber of artists who are doing this at a whole other level on international tours. I'm gonna pull up Will Sparks' rider for comparison, and let's go through it. 2 bottles of Goose, 1 Don Julio, 12 Diet Cokes, premium champagne, 16 beers for the boys, 24 bottles of water, a couple of black t-shirts, some towels, protein shakes, protein bars, jocks, socks, the iPhone chargers. But the biggest thing I want to bring home here, before you think that's excessive, you need to understand the context. Someone like Will Sparks is touring internationally non-stop. They're literally going from city to city across Europe with pretty much just a carry-on bag. He's likely not stopping to do washing or shopping between these shows. So the shirts and the clothes that are getting thrown in on the rider, they're most likely getting thrown out post-show because he's moving constantly. That's high-level international touring. The key is knowing your level and being realistic. If you're playing a local club 2 hours from home, say, you don't need fresh jocks and socks in your rider. But if you're doing a month-long international tour, then yeah, these things start to make complete sense. But just don't be a dickhead and assume you can put all of this on your rider when you're just playing weekend gigs. Honestly, I just suggest sticking with something simple for now, because that way you have a better chance of actually getting some of your rider in the early days of your career, rather than giving them something insane and just getting absolutely none of it. Now, another thing you absolutely need these days is promo videos. This isn't optional anymore. The short form clips that we focus on so much, they're going to be very important in this part of the process. The more social proof and social momentum that we have, the better chances we have of actually getting the bookings. You need both horizontal and vertical format videos. Make sure there's no other club logos or watermarks on there, because here's what most people don't actually understand. These aren't just to show the promoter what you've done to lock in your booking. These are for them to use as marketing assets to advertise that you're playing at their club. This is business 101. You're not just selling a service, you're providing everything they need to sell the booking to their patrons. When you're touring and playing shows, you're obviously charging a lot more money than the resident DJs. We need to give the venue as much marketing material as possible so they can get a return on their investment in booking you. Now, obviously, if you don't have massive crowds or whatever in your videos, don't shoot the video from behind you. Tell your mate to run out on the dance floor and be one of the 4 people in front of you and shoot back the other way. There's literally no excuses. We're only seeing you DJing. But if you put on a hell of a show and have great stage presence and energy, that's going to help position you as someone worth booking. Just because you don't have the big videos, don't think you can't put anything in here. Some of you guys might have shot footage from other gigs. Use it, utilize it. It's all good stuff. They're going to post these videos on their socials, tag you, and use them to build hype for the event. Clean professional footage without competing branding makes their job easy. And when you make their job easy, they're more likely to book you again. The last thing worth mentioning is a one sheet. It's basically a 1-page summary of your artist profile, bio, stats, socials, gigs you've played. This is more popular in the Asia and international markets, more so than here in Australia, but it's good to have if you're targeting those markets. Here's what you need: biography written in third person, clean logos, professional press shots, tech writer, hospitality writer, and if you have them sorted, you can also include show visuals, but this isn't a necessity. Just keep it simple at first. Then once you get to that level, you can start adding to it and making your entire press pack more high profile. The main thing to remember is that the easier you make it for the venue to market you, minimize their workload, and make them money, the easier it will be for venues to say yes to you, and that will lead to more bookings. Everything in your press pack should be about making their job easier. Look, I made every mistake you can think of when I started. The crappy photos, the generic bio, showing up to gigs without knowing what equipment they had. I learned this stuff the hard way, so you don't have to. Basically, it's like anything in this industry. The better you cover your bases, the better chance of everything going well. Make sure everything's in the press pack and you'll be sweet. If you found this video helpful, you might want to give me a follow. I've got heaps more content coming on exactly how to build your career in this industry. Or if you're someone who's serious about fast tracking your career and wants to get results in 3 months working with us, rather than spending 3 years figuring it out alone, check out OSO Academy. The link is in the description below. It's our 3-month program where we work directly with DJs to go from local DJ to touring artist. We break it down into 5 phases: identity, content, production, networking, and bookings. You get group coaching calls twice a week, unlimited support, resources, and a proven system that's helped over 150 DJs take their career to the next level. So stop making the same mistakes I made, start getting booked, and let's keep running it up.